Hey, what's up, you guys? We're going to be investigating The Rock today.
The Rock is an actor, producer, and pro wrestler. Johnson was born in Hayward, California, but moved to Florida in 1989, playing football and winning the championship for the University of Miami in 1991. Before we get into all that, we're going to talk about The Rock's network. The Rock's assumed father was Rocky Johnson, or Wade Douglas Bowles. Born in Amherst, Nova Scotia, they descended from black loyalists who immigrated to Nova Scotia after the American Revolutionary War, and also had a small amount of Irish ancestry. At the age of 16, Rocky Johnson moved to Toronto, Ontario, home to a lot of evil, where he began wrestling and worked as a truck driver. Initially, he trained to be a boxer and sparred with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. There is no such thing as coincidence. That's very strange, and it will get much more strange. Now, the reason he's called Rocky, and the reason they use the term rock and roll, so many different things with rock, but it's because Peter, the Rock. And Peter was called by Jesus Satan. Rocky Johnson, like Dwayne Johnson, is not aging very well. Dwayne is hiding it a lot better with surgery and such, but Rocky is melting apart. Women do not hold up when you put those kind of hormones in their body for that extended amount of time. You're fighting to be two people. Rocky married Ada Maivia. Ada's father was Peter Maivia, the wrestler, who became Rocky's handler. There's that name Peter again. She is clearly a transsexual. She has the barrel body of Alex Jones and Sam Kinison, two other transsexuals. Now, the transgender Peter was not named Peter. I'm going to put it on the screen for you to read. Considered the maternal grandfather of The Rock, aka grandmother, he was a promoter of National Wrestling Alliance in Hawaii. Peter spent time in London, England for training. Peter was likely a graduate of Tavistock. A year into the profession, in August of 1964, he received his title from his mentor and handler Steve Rickard. While in New Zealand, he was wifed with Leah and had his daughter Ada and two sons, one named Peter and the other Toa. In 1970, he was welcomed to San Francisco. I'm sure he was. When he was in California, he met another Samoan family, the Inoas, and they acted like blood brothers, adopting each other. He would go on to dominate the West Coast wrestling region and teamed up with Billy White Wolf and famously gay Pat Patterson and Ray the Crippler Stevens as well. While in California, Peter met Rocky Johnson. Peter would be under the watchful eye of Steve Rickard, a then wrestler and promoter. You can tell by his body having no definition that something isn't right. It's pretty obvious in the face that there is no sharpness to it at all. It's very droopy. Everything on this person is drooping. Comment what you see. Steve Rickard was born Sidney Mervyn Batt, and according to the records, most people born Sidney are female. And I also have suspicion because they went by Merv. Why would they go by Merv? These actors do all kinds of acting gigs. He was even part of some riots that made racial tension higher, as well as a few different bombing incidents. He just happened to be there, you guys. Can you believe it? The reason they do these attacks and things like the 9/11 stuff is because they want us to divide and conquer. If they divide us, they can conquer us. But if we come together, we'll stomp these people out. Looking at this family with a new set of eyes, you can tell something's a little bit off. Now we're going to take a look at The Rock's relationship. This is Danny Garcia, The Rock's first wife and current manager. Not only that, but Danny's new relationship or partner is The Rock's personal trainer. All of them seem to be transgendered. I take a holistic approach to finding out who is transgendered. I look at everything and then I make an evaluation. So if you think you see certain little aspects of it, go ahead and leave them in the comments, but don't criticize me for my method. I look at these two right away and I see two transgendered people, obviously insecure with themselves because none of these people are open. What is the big secret? If it's so good, what is the big secret? They know it's not good. These celebrities that we all grew up idolizing, they are losers. They constantly change their roles, their names, everything, because they're not happy with who they are. They know they are total losers. So they had to band up together and then convince us all that they weren't losers. And so many people love the character Maui and don't even realize it's based on a transgender loser. This family also became blood brothers with another wrestling family that brought us Rikishi, the fat ass with blonde hair, as well as Roman Reigns. So there's already a bunch of nicknames that give rise to the Roman Catholic Church. You have Rocky, The Rock, Peter, and Roman Reigns. All not birth names, but names they chose. Now, The Rock was handled by a lot of creeps, including Muhammad Ali. And judging by this picture, they were just a little too friendly. I think that these circles do a lot of nasty stuff with their children. Would you let your supposed son be embraced in the arms of some other man, grown-ass man like that? I don't care who it is. I'm punching them in the face. They could be Muhammad Ali. That's ridiculous, man. We live in such a weak society now where you can't even stand up for your kids or yourself. Somebody out here started problems with me, and I handled my business just like I'm going to tell my kids to. And yeah, I got in trouble for it. But that's what you're going to have to do these days. Because if not, you're not going to be allowed to say anything anymore. First it's doing, and then they're going to take away your right to say anything. They're all ulterior motives so that they can do this to your son. Do you want that to be your kid right there? With some Hollywood creep with The Rock smooching on him and shit? You guys, we gotta do something about this. We gotta band together. Don't listen to idiots anymore. Another person that trained or handled The Rock was Pat Patterson, as I mentioned before. Personally, I could spot a molester a mile away. And Pat Patterson is definitely a molester. He's gay and says he wanted to be a priest. What does that tell you? Same exact shit, you guys. That our ancestors were too weak to handle. It's bullshit. Now I'm going to wrap this section of it up because they will privatize it forever, like my first video on The Rock. So we'll end it on this creep right here, Pat Patterson, someone who likely touched The Rock and changed him, just like Puff Daddy did to Usher, just like Usher did to Justin Bieber. Yeah, I said it. That'll be the end of part 1. Tune into part 2 to find out even more about The Rock.